Guys, I'm in my truck here with the engine running because I want to show you a problem with this air conditioning unit. Now, I recently replaced this about a month or so ago. A brand new ACDelco unit, it suddenly has quit working. And so the behavior is the fan speeds work, but nothing's coming out of the dash vents, it's only coming out of the floor. And the zone control doesn't have any effect at all. AC button and recirc button, none of this does anything. And if you turn it off, these guys light up. So it's an electrical problem on the board itself, and I think it's fixable. By reading some old forums, I saw there's a possibility for some of the circuitry to go bad. So I'm going to turn the engine off here, and we're going to replace the we're going to remove the shroud so we can get this guy back out. So I'm just going to drop the transmission into first gear. I'm going to lower the tilt wheel so I can get some leverage here, and then I'm going to take a tool that I can use a plastic tool so I don't scratch up anything, so I can pop these clips that are around this shroud. Sometimes it helps to open a little door here. And there's one right down here on the bottom too. There's one over on this side. You can't see, but it's there. Alright, and then we can pull this guy out. We don't actually have to remove them all the way. We just have to give them enough so that we can get in here. Now, this being a new unit, it's pretty easy to get out. I'm just going to use like a tool like this and insert it into this little space here. And there's a clip. If you push this in, it should pop it loose. Do it right. Okay. You can see right here there's like a little clip. And we can do the other side as well, although it's not going to be as easy to see. Just kind of come in, push it in there until this guy comes off. So it was actually easier than one I could see. And then you've got a couple of harnesses here, and they're also held on by little clips. Now again, this, like I said, this guy's new, and it's coming off pretty easy, but if you have one of these that's pretty old, it's probably very brittle, and more than likely these clips are going to break. On the top. Still on there a little bit. There he goes. Okay. And then on this side, there's a clip that lifts up. So lift him up like that. You can pull that off. And on this guy, I think it's underneath. Probably not going to be able to get it on the video. So I can twist it around for you. Yeah. This guy's just a standard push-in type clip. So we'll give him a push-in. Push out. Okay, and we get it off. So what we're going to do, what I think this is from reading, we're going to take these two bolts off and remove this retainer so that we can get look at this board. But what we're after here is this transistor that you can see right down here. It's right next to the zone switch, and I believe this has gone bad just from being a dodgy component. And I'm going to show you how to replace that without taking this whole thing apart. So let's go ahead and take it over to the workbench. Let's get this disassembled. We're going to have a 7/32 English socket is apparently what these small guys are that Delco use. So we're just going to remove these two bolts that hold this retainer. Okay. This guy aside. And next we're going to need to take off these little sockets that hold the bulbs. So the guys on the bottom are yellows. This is for the yellow indicators for the AC and recirculation, and then the top ones are just clear illumination. And then what we've got is this Mylar circuit board. Now at this point we're mostly just trying to get this free. I'm not going to remove this. You could take the knobs off and try to pop this guy free, and I'll show you in a minute on an old board how you might do that. But in my experience, when you get these guys off, number one, they're a pain in the ass to get back on, and number two, most of the time the little detent here, the click, won't click anymore. So I'm going to try and do this leaving them on. So again, this is a flexible circuit board, so like a mylar material. It'll melt with a soldering iron, so you got to stay on the metal solder itself. So like I said, I'm going to replace these transistors. There's one down here, there's one here, and there's another one down here. From what I've read in the past, these old forums, this was apparently the only one that caused these problems, but since I can get to it, I'm going to replace this too, and I'll tell you what we're replacing them with in a minute, but let's first get them out. So I'm going to use my desoldering sucker here. I'm going to try and stay on the metal here, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to be doing, but I'm actually going to do this upside down to have gravity help me. But I'm just going to take off for these three first. Basically, if you got this well heated up and you wiggle it around a little bit, it should come right off. Okay, so we got that guy loose. I'm going to leave him in here for now just because I want to be able to take note of his orientation. And then I'm going to go for the three for the guy we really want. Doesn't take a long time to do. You do want to be patient. Again, I'm trying not to stay on this mylar circuit board longer than I have to. And I'm also trying to stay only on the solder pads themselves. Leave this guy here. Hopefully he won't fall over. There he goes. Alright. And for this guy, I'm going to see if he's loose. Yeah, he is. Alright, so my plan is to flex this enough to get him out without removing it. We'll see how successful that is. Alright, there he is. Alright, so we got that guy out. So like I said, this is the main one we wanted. We can see he's kind of bent back, and it's just like that. And drop my tweezers here. Alright, I'll show you what we're replacing it with. I'll show you what numbers to look for on yours. Basically, I'm going to pull out two. And I'm going to replace these two. Alright, so this guy in the front here, just if I get a little magnifier, I don't know if the camera will get it. This guy in the front, if you can see the number on here, let me hold it up to the light, might help. There he is. Yeah, that's a lot better. This guy is a number 4403, and then the other one, the one we mainly were after, has a number on here. I can barely make this out. Looks like A50 or something like that. Maybe not A50. I'll try getting a close-up a little bit later. Alright, so we're just going to solder these back in. No rocket science to that. Just going to get the tape off because this one was on a kind of tape type container. And what I did here, these are old NOS type transistors. I didn't get any kind of new stuff because I wanted to make sure they were old, American made, vintage to the era of this piece of gear, because I think the problem is the newer stuff just might not have the quality that's needed. Alright, let's make another check here off camera here, make sure I got the right one. Yes, I do. And we're going to make sure sure we get our base emitter and collector back in the way the originals were. Kind of bend these guys back so I can solder them in when I'm ready. Alright, and so this other guy is going to be a little bit harder. I'm trying to make it a little easier on myself. I'm going to bend these in the direction they need to be in advance. And then I'm going to try and slide it down like I said. And again, just one more check to make sure I've got the right number here. Yes. Okay. Getting in the holes is not hard. Getting it to fit past this obstruction is. Just got to push it in though. He will go. And then after you get him part way in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to bend him down the way he was originally. Okay. Move the leads on the back here. I'll show you in a minute. But alright, so now we've got him back in the position he was originally. We've got our leads bent back so we can solder them in. I'm going to turn my desoldering guy off. I'm going to get my soldering station fired up, and we'll come back and solder this guy in. Let's go ahead and get these guys resoldered back on. I'm going to try just using 325 Celsius here. Just trying to be on here as little as possible. Slack on my solder. Just to make sure I do not burn this thing. Alright, let's get do a little bit better on this guy. There we go. That's good. Not the best, but good enough. Alright. Just trying not to lay the iron on this very long. Kind of jitter around with it. So far I don't think we're melting anything, so that's good. Alright, so after this I'm going to clip the excess leads off. I'll do one more check to make sure I've got good clearance. See what it looks like. Some solder stuff from the desoldering iron. Move that over. Alright, let me get my clipper. And we'll take these leads off. So now we got these guys replaced. That should be what we need. Just going to bend him back a little bit into the same orientation he was. We're just going to replace our retainer. Put our bolts back in. Put our light lenses back in. And we'll go test it out in the vehicle. Before we test out in the vehicle, though, I'm going to try to get you one more shot of what the face numbers on these original and replacement transistors look like. So let me finish this and we'll come back and do that, and then we'll go back out to the truck. And guys, I mentioned to you how if you wanted to, you could pull this board out. I've taken the knobs and I've taken the whole faceplate off actually of this old board just to show you. I mean, I don't recommend doing it, but you get enough flex that you can move the the guy off here, these switches for the air conditioner and the recirc kind of snap off. So if you just bend this guy down and give him a pull and push down on it, they come off. So there's like little grooves on these guys that fit on the switch. And then if you go to put it back on, if you can get these guys lined up right, you can kind of get them back on to that switch. But like I said, this is a real pain in the ass, so I don't recommend doing it, but I said I would show you how. That's what I'm trying to do here. Just keep getting it lined up just right to get it back on there. Alright, where did the first one click? I'm trying to get this guy in. Alright, I think he's on there. Alright, so like I said, it's a lot easier to do it the way I showed it, but I said I'd show how to pop that on and off. That's just for your benefit if you want to do it the hard way. Let's go on and continue with the next step. Here's a closer look under my microscope. Hopefully the camera viewing through this is looking okay. So you can get a couple of different parts for the one that we replaced on the side by the zone knob. It's a 2857 on the top line, or this one over here is an MPS A56. And they would be commonly found on the front, or that one that we did not do is either a 4403, or I don't know if you can make this guy out here. I can barely make him out myself. Let me see if we can move the light a little bit, a little less glare. This is like a, I think it's a 4687. There it is. So the 4687. Or this guy here, 2N4403. Hopefully that helps you out in seeing what these guys are. Let's go out and put the truck, make sure this works. Got our bolts tightened down for that retainer. And so let's see how we did. So let's go ahead and reconnect our fan switch. This particular model, we've got a rear defroster. Then here we have our main contact switch. I'm going to install this all the way, just in case I'm taking it out again. I'll go ahead and start the engine. Again, this is a diesel. It's going to take me just a moment here, let the glow plugs fire up. Just a moment. It's a bright, sunny 43 degrees here today. Not too bad, not too bad. All right, let's see if all this work was worth it. So now without the, I'm not going to put the cover on. So I've got air now coming out of my face vent. There's my air conditioning. It's kind of hard to tell with the temperature we've got. In my case, my rear defroster is coming on, so that indicator light's on. I'm trying to turn my max AC on. Max AC fan picked up automatically. That's what we want to see. Turn that off. Turn that off. Turn that off. And I don't know. Hopefully, there's not too much wind noise coming into the microphone. Maybe pull the camera back a little bit to make sure that that's not getting in the way of what you're hearing. But what I was saying is that the AC is working now, the max recirc is working now as expected. I've got ventilation coming out here. I still have ventilation coming out on the floor. It's going to be hard to test the defroster. I'll have to drive around for that. I can set it up here and have straight just air coming out of the dash vent. So this guy definitely looks like he's fixed. And not a hard repair to do. And ashamed that you have to do it. This was a relatively new part, although I picked it up at a car show. It was still brand new in the box. These things still go for a lot of money. And if you have one that's relatively new and it's a Delco one, obviously the repair I mentioned doesn't apply to any kind of a third-party version of this control unit. But this will apply to the one with defrost, and the one without defrost should be the same in terms of replacing those transistors. And again, the main guy we wanted was the one. A little bit of slack with our cables here. There we go. The main one we wanted was the guy that's right here. but I went ahead and replaced this one too, just because if this guy's failing, I don't want to come back in here again. There's a lot of glare. Hopefully you can still see this, you know, and if not, from back where we were. But this is the zone knob, and that's the guy you're after. Anyway, I hope this video helps you out. It sure helped me out, because now I don't have to trash this unit and get another one. And hopefully it helps you out. If you got questions, I'll try to answer them. You can always leave a comment at the bottom. Otherwise, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.